Hello, I'm Aubrey Angst, and if you're watching this video, you probably love The Sims 3, but are not a fan of performance issues you've encountered while playing the game. Maybe it's been a few years since you last played The Sims 3, and when you booted it up, you thought to yourself, I don't remember the game looking this bad. And to be honest, it probably didn't. Before, you were likely playing on a computer with components that came out before or around the same time The Sims 3 was released, and so the game was able to recognize and utilize your hardware. Now, quite simply, the graphics card in your current computer is probably too new for the game to detect. You'll know this is the issue if you've seen the Unrecognized Video Card warning, or by navigating to Documents, Electronic Arts, The Sims 3, Device Config, opening the file with Notepad, and scrolling down to the Graphics Device Info section. After Name Database, you should see the name of your graphics card followed by found and matched in brackets, each with a number attached. If either of the numbers listed is 0, this video should help you get dramatically better game performance. But if both found and matched have a 1 next to them, I have good news and bad. The good news is the game recognizes and is using your graphics card. The bad news is this video is not going to help with your issues. Sorry. Assuming at least one of your numbers says 0, and you're still here, let's take some steps to make sure your graphics card is used. We're going to leave the device config log open and navigate to our Sims 3 install directory. Mine is under my C drive, Program Files 86, Origin Games, The Sims 3, Game, Bin. You can also get here if you have a Sims 3 desktop icon by right-clicking on it and selecting Open File Location. In your bin, there should be a GraphicsCards file and a GraphicsRules file. If you don't see these two files, go and fully launch your game, then exit the game before coming back to the next step. Like the device config file, we're going to open the GraphicsCards file using Notepad. This is a list of all the graphics cards The Sims 3 has in their database and so already recognizes. Either scroll down or Control F to find the name of your graphics card vendor in the log. You can add a new line to enter your specific graphics card information anywhere within your card vendor section. Looking at the device config file, you can see my card is a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070, so I'm going to add a line after the NVIDIA vendor section begins and mimic the format of the other entries to add my card. On my newly created line, I'll tab over and type the word card, then space 0x, followed by the device ID listed for the chipset in the device config log, another space, and then paste in the complete name of the graphics card inside quotation marks. You can now save the graphics card file and close out of it. Now we're going to open the GraphicsRules file using Notepad, but I would recommend making a backup save of this file and placing it on your desktop just in case, until you know the process worked. Near the top of the log you should see Set I, Texture Memory 32, Set B, Texture Memory Size OK, False. Change the 32 in the first line to 1024 and place a pound then space in front of this second line of text like so. You could change your texture memory to a higher number than 1024 if your graphics card has a high virtual RAM value. For example, 2048 if your card has a 4GB VRAM, 3072 for 6GB, and so on. But due to the video memory limitations of The Sims 3, you're not likely to see a significant difference between using 1024 or a higher value for this setting. Looking back at your device config log, if you have an Intel card and your name database already said matched 1, congratulations! You're now done with the file editing and can save your GraphicsRules file and skip ahead to the end of the video. Everyone else, find your GPU rating number up near the top of the device config log. This number should be 1 through 5, and whichever number it is will determine where you add the information for our next step. Back at the GraphicsRules file, find the part of the code related to your specific graphics card vendor by searching the log until you find the following text: match card vendor, followed by your specific vendor's name in quotation marks. Mine looks like this: match card vendor NVIDIA. Directly below your vendor's name, you will see a group of if and else if statements followed by an indented set I card level and the card level the rule applies to. Your GPU level from the device config log will determine which of these sections you'll want to edit. If your GPU rating is 1, you'll look for card level low. If it is 2, you need card level low medium. For 3, you'll need card level medium. 4 will be card level high, and a 5 will fall under card level uber. Once again, we're going to mimic the format already used in the file to add our specific graphics card information. Directly above where your card level designation for your vendor is located, start a new or match statement right before the ending parenthesis. Type in or copy paste space then the beginning of the or match statement up to the first asterisk, then enter the name of your graphics card, followed by asterisk, double quotation, close parentheses. You can use a question mark as a wildcard character, similar to the format used for some of the other cards listed, but it should not make an impact either way. Just be sure that the number of characters you enter matches the characters for your card name, including any wildcards used. My entry would be or match card name RTX 2070 or match card name RTX 20 ? If I wanted to mimic the previous entries. Now save your graphics rule file, and you can close out of both it and your device config log. Double check that the graphics card and graphics rules files are both still SGR files. If you can't tell, check the box next to File Name Extensions in your Folders View tab. If the files say anything other than SGR at the end, you can rename them in order to revert them back to an SGR. Let's see if the updates worked. You may notice a difference as soon as you open the game, but you can also reopen your device config log after the game has fully launched and check in on your found and matched values. If everything worked as intended, these numbers should both be 1. If found still says 0, you'll want to go back and double check the changes made to the graphics cards file. If match says 0, then you'll want to double check the graphics rules edits made. The graphics rules edits are definitely the more complicated ones, so you can revert back to your saved copy of the original file if need be to start that step over from scratch. Time for the fun part, changing your game settings to values of your liking, and getting into some awesome Sims 3 adventures. Speaking of adventures, if you're a fan of Sims 3 gameplay, or have been intrigued by some of the footage used in this video, most of it's from a series I'm currently working on called the Midnight Sun Challenge. You can check out the introduction to the series through the playlist on my profile page, or by clicking here. There are definitely some mods and other tricks you can use to enhance your gameplay further, but making sure the game is using your graphics card is going to give you the best performance increase with the least amount of effort on your part. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you hit that like button, you'll have a quick way to refer back to it if need be. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.